Welcome back to Ration Nerd, everyone. It is great to see you here. I am certainly excited that you decided to spend a Sunday with this guy. If you are here at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time on a Sunday watching this review, I want you to know that you rock out with the cock out. But welcome back to Ration Nerd. Today, we are going to get into a little bit of my backlog of rations, because I'm starting to get some rations that I got when they were close to their expiration date. So this ration expired in July of 2023. So we are a little bit late to the party. And you know what? That is completely okay. I've eaten older things. So this is a Slovenian combat ration, Type C. I did one of these on the channel before. I wasn't as good at making videos as I am now. Not to say that my video making or editing skills has dramatically improved, but it's dramatically improved. So what if I am the B movie of ration reviewers? If you're here, you must like it. So you're a B movie kind of guy, and that's okay. Those of you that know me in real life will know that I am one of the hardest people on the planet to watch a movie with, but you didn't come here to hear about my movie preferences. You came here to see me eat a ration. Let's get in and see what we've got going on. But before we do that, you know what, guys? If you like what I'm doing here on this channel, you know the drill. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Talk to me in the chat. It is always good to hear from you guys. I've actually learned a lot about my hobby in the chat, and I've actually learned a lot about other people's personal lives, for better or for worse. So take that for what you will. The chat is a whole lot of fun. It's the internet. What did you expect? There is a contents list right here on the front. We're going to throw caution to the wind. We're not going to read that too close. We're just going to get into this ration and have a good time. Oh no. Oh, the inside of the bag is sticky. This does not... Oh, here we go. Right off the bat with the sticky bag. Oh man. So what have we got glued here? So we have a silverware kit that's got some stickiness on there. I think there might be honey in here. Oh, that's just a little sticky. That's all good. We have a Travel Lunch brand freeze-dried Maine. That is pasta porcini. I've had Travel Lunch in several other rations. I've liked them, so I'm not exactly upset about getting some Travel Lunch. It is a wee bit sticky, but that's okay. We'll take care of that. We'll find the sticky culprit here in a moment. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff that's welded together in here. That's no good. So it looks like, oh man, oh, the stick is real. So we have a trash bag, like an honest to God, like whole size trash bag, which is pretty awesome. Pack your trash out, bitches. We have some coffee whitener. Check out Slovenia doing it right. Coffee whitener right out of the gate. You know what I bet is in here with this coffee whitener? Part of the holy fucking trinity, might I add. We have some coffee. So we've got coffee and we've got cream. So we have 2/3 of the holy trinity. And what to my wondering eyes that appear is 2 goddamn packs of sugar. That is amazing. We got some cool little pictures on these packs of sugar. We have a pack of windproof, waterproof matches with a striker in the bag. That is always awesome. And we definitely are going to need these. We have 1, 2, 3, count them, 4 hand sanitizers, antiseptic sterile wipes. That's awesome. So we have a very sticky bag of instant tea with lemon. That is totally not the culprit. More random acts of stickiness. Wow. Oh, please tell me the main didn't explode. Please, please, please. That is not the sticky culprit. That's excellent. So we have a beans and vegetables medley. That's pretty awesome. And we have a flameless ration heater. Flameless ration heaters are always good. Some bitch. So this is a tin of fish and vegetables, and I am sad to report that this can of fish and vegetables is completely intact, which means we are going to have to try to eat it, damn it. All right, so we got fish and vegetables, and we have a fruit bar with vitamins and minerals. That's pretty awesome. That is probably my culprit, maybe. I don't know. There's a peach jam here. It has a serious amount of stickiness on it. Still feels like there's some jam in there. We'll have to check him out in a minute. I'm not sure if he's actually the culprit or not. We have a big old pack of corn crisp bread. I'm thinking these are probably going to be stale as all get out, but I will let you know shortly. 60 grams of corn crisp bread. And we have some leaked on vitamin C tablets. So we're just going to get those right on out of the box. So we have 2 blister packs of vitamin C tablets, and there are 10 in each blister, so that gives you 20 vitamin C tablets for your 24-hour day. That's pretty awesome. Oh, here's another tuna pate. So we have this tuna pate, which unfortunately did not get busted in transit. And we have this tuna and vegetables. I call shenanigans. And, oh, we have another one of those fruit and protein bars. That's excellent. I'm doing a really poor job of laying this out because everything is just so covered in sticky mess. So we have another travel lunch here. This is fruit muesli with whole milk powder. That's awesome. That's definitely going to be a breakfast main. Looking forward to getting into that here shortly. Oh. We have another travel lunch. It is a chocolate mousse. That is great. I'm really hoping that these survive the stick apocalypse that happened here in this bag, but we have another travel lunch brand. We have a 35-gram chocolate bar that is 57% cocoa. That is awesome sauce, little chocolate bar action. And we have a pack of gum, sugar-free chewing gum with sweeteners, only slightly sticky. And we have another 60-gram pack of corn crisp bread. That brings us up to 2. We have a vanilla-flavored protein drink. That's pretty awesome. And last but not least, we have 3 mineral vitamin drinks, or MVDs. I checked these out in my last review of a Slovenian ration. I really like these. I'm really looking forward to these 3 drinks. So everything here is sealed. It looks like the peach jam is absolutely the culprit. That is a bummer. Oh, there it is right there. There's actually a hole in the top. Looks like it got banged around in shipping. You know what? That's just how the ration cookie crumbles. We're just going to get over it. I'll be back with some breakfast out onto a tray. We will dig into this. I have a feeling we're having some fish for breakfast because, well, damn. All right, everybody, we are back with some breakfast. I am going to try to get some of this fish out of the way early in the day. I don't know if that's a good idea, bad idea. But you know what is actually a really bad idea? Checking your email. When you're not actually at work, the worst thing you can do is check your email. Do yourself a favor. When you're not at work, unless you have one of those weird kind of jobs where you're kind of required to check your email, like when you're not there, like this guy, if you can get away with it, don't check your goddamn email when you're not at work. All it does is stress you out, and it's a bunch of bullshit. That's my fun fact for the day. So anyway, we have got this fruit muesli. We've got some stanky fish. We've got some crisp bread to go with said stanky fish. We have one of these mineral vitamin drinks. We have one of the protein bars over and we also have some fruit muesli. Everything is super sticky. I have a feeling those hand sanitizing wipes are going to come in. Yeah, they're wipes. I have a feeling those guys are going to come in really handy during this review. But you know what time it is. It is goddamn coffee time, because in Slovenia, they actually decided their troops were important enough to give them the holy trifecta with the coffee and the cream and the sugar. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. And you know what? There's a lot of drinks in this ration with 3 mineral vitamin drinks and a big old pack of tea. I think I'm going to make the executive decision to double up on that MVD, because having had one of these rations before and having had those MVDs before, they're actually really good. You get a lot of drinks in a Slovenian ration, which is really nice. So I could have 3 small glasses of that throughout the day, but I'm going to have 1 big old glass for breakfast. We're going to hydrate. Hydrating is always good. We're absolutely going to get into this coffee, but we should probably hydrate this muesli first. So that's what we'll do. Even though my better instincts are to make the coffee first, we'll go ahead and get this muesli hydrating, because it's the right thing to do. I guess it's too early for this shit. I'm not even going to bother to try to wipe down these bags. We're just going to roll with it, sticky and all. That's how she likes it, all nice and sticky. So I do not see a do not eat in there. That's a pretty healthy looking muesli up in there. Some chunky bits of stuff. Let's give that a sniff. Yep, that smells like berries. Berries are always good. Let's see what we got going on with this muesli in the morning. I need coffee. Fuck this muesli. I mean, hooray muesli, I guess. Let's just chuck it all in there. We'll have some soupy muesli. I'm just really excited about coffee. Let's get into this sticky old silverware set. Let's get that thin but serviceable spoon out. Not too shabby. Let's get down in those corners, mix that up real good. Is it just me, or did that spoon bend like way more out of proportion with that really hot? Oh yeah. Yeah, we need to cool that off and like reset that to its regular shape. Now we're going to attempt to seal this really sticky bag. Straighten up our tray here. I need to screw this thing down to the table. Give that a little shaky shake. We didn't make a mess. That's 3 points for Ration Nerd. We will turn our silverware around like we know what we're doing. And now I got to get right into one of these hand sanitizing wipes because everything is so sticky, it's just not even funny. So I have a feeling we're going to get to review these things over and over again, like one at least with every meal. That is super wet, very, very alcohol based. It's like almost drying off my hands as soon as I put it on there. That's good stuff though. It got the sticky right off of me. I'm just going to leave that sitting over here, hope it doesn't dry out completely. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. You know what? Even if this is bad coffee, it's going to get a hard pass. It's going to get a pass because the other rations I've had recently have just been completely dicking me out of the coffee. That is a pretty weak looking spray dry, but we're just going to have to hang with it because, you know, at least they give you coffee in Slovenia. So we're going to hook it right up with both packs of sugar. Diabetes be damned, we're in. All those little granules of diabetic goodness in the bottom of that glass. And then we're going to get into that coffee whitener. I just, you know, gave it a big but it actually smelled kind of funky. Hopefully it's just like, you know, generic non-dairy coffee whitener. We'll see. We'll find out. It did smell kind of funky. That's okay though. You know, we all have those days sometimes where we smell a little funky. We don't like to admit it. Nobody really loves it, but, you know, everybody has funky days. Oh, snap. Coffee goodness. Coffee with cream in the morning. That's what I'm talking about. Now for these nice sticky vitamin mineral drinks. Now, when I had these last time, these were kind of like a lemon flavor. These things were really good, though. I'm really looking forward to these. That's why I just decided to double up. Get a little extra hydration and stickiness going on in the morning. Damn. And you know, we've got everything mixed up now. We haven't gotten into all the items, but we've got to get into this coffee. That creamer is looking like it did not really mix in that well with the water, but you know what? We're going to give it hell. This is the first ration we've had in a little while that gives us a cup of coffee. Not only do they give us the coffee, they give us the trifecta. They give us the coffee. They give us the cream. They give us the sugar. You know what? We're just going to drink it and be happy until we take the first sip and we realize it's horrible. That's not a great cup of coffee, but you know what? It is certainly not the worst cup of coffee I've ever had. It's doable. It tastes like a very instant coffee. The creamer tastes like a very generic, non-dairy coffee whitener. And the sugar, well, it tastes like sugar. So that's not the worst coffee I've ever had. So I'll take it, especially considering some of the rations I've had recently were like giving me the like fuck off with coffee. So you know what? I'm getting a cup of coffee. I'm going to be kind of happy about it. No, it's not the best cup of coffee, but it is coffee. Now let's see this bar we've got out here. That is one of the fruit bars. That is awesome sauce. Check that guy out. Not bad looking. Break him open, give you a little cross section of that guy right there. That smells pretty good. Does not smell bad. We're going to get a bite of him. Not right now, a little later. I will very likely not eat all these crisp breads. We'll carry some of these over to lunch. These things are probably horribly stale. This packaging really sucks. So let's check out these corn crisp breads. I really like crisp breads. I have a feeling these are just going to be horribly stale. Let's go ahead and... oh, they don't feel great. Let's answer that question. I'm going to get a bite of that guy. Crisp breads are not super flavorful to begin with. They have really nice crunchy texture. Kind of like, well, eating a piece of styrofoam. And honestly, this has a crunchier, a little bit tougher to chew texture now that it's stale. I'm going to have to be honest with you. I kind of like these better stale than I do fresh. So I'm just going to take that as a ration win. Like, I've got some stale crisp breads, and I actually really like them stale better than I do. I guess we got to open up that fish now, damn it. These things do make a mess all over the tray. I'm trying to put that fish off to the last second. So since we have a bunch of these, I imagine Get a whole lot of these throughout the day. We should get at least 4 of these out on the tray. Got 4 of those vitamin C tablets rocking out. Ah, it's fish time, damn it. All right. So I'm not 100% sure what flavor of fish this is going to be. This looks like it's going to be tuna and tomatoes. Oof. Damn it. So here we go with the tuna. Ooh. That's... I mean, it's very deceiving. That looks like pate, but I know it's not pate. I mean, maybe it is. It's like a fish pate, but it's not this guy's kind of pate. So I guess just to satisfy my raging curiosity about this fish, I'm just going to have to dig in here and get a little bite. That just looks like baby food. I mean, I can't really say anything. I really like pate. If that was a pate, I'd be screaming about it right now with, like, excitement. So let's get a taste of this tuna and tomato pate. Huh. Well, we have finally found... Wait a minute. That aftertaste. Okay, that's not too bad. So now I have absolutely found my favorite seafood item in any ration I've ever had is this tuna and tomato pate. That is actually an extremely mild tuna flavor. It has a nice seasoning. It's almost... It really doesn't taste like fish very much. It tastes more like vegetables than it does fish, which is completely fine by me. It has a very, very mild fish flavor. I mean, extremely low on the fish flavor, very high on the vegetable flavor. Very smooth consistency. Actually doesn't even smell fishy, which is amazing. You know what? I thought I was going to be completely grumping about this item the entire time, that I was only going to have like one crisp bread and walk away from it. I got to be honest with you. I mean, I know this is a fish item, but it certainly doesn't taste like one. And I'm about to throw some of this on a crisp bread because this is actually pretty decent. I mean, I'm hoping that flavor doesn't change like the further down the can that you go. I was really expecting this to be hateful. This is actually pretty good. I'm digging this. Little fishy pate action. I'm down with it. Check out that creamy tomato fish goodness. That's something you don't get to say every day. That's kind of odd. The fish flavor of this is enhanced just a little bit by the corn crisp, but the texture is absolutely needed. I wouldn't just want to sit and eat like pulverized tuna out of a pate tin, but it's still completely acceptable. Like, even for a guy that really hates seafood like I do, this is decent. Like, I can completely eat this. I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. I can't believe I'm sitting here eating tuna and tomato paste for breakfast. That's actually crazy. And not even really minding it. I'm not complaining about it. That's the thing that shocks me, is I'm not just like completely trashing it right now. The last time I had a Slovenian ration, you guys should check that video out. But whoever made that pate mixed like pumpkin and tuna together, and it was the worst thing ever. I feel pretty bad about giving this to stink eye when I first pulled it out of the bag. I can't believe I just sat here and ate 2 of those back to back. You know this stuff is pretty good. And we're going to clean the palate with some of that mineral vitamin drink. You know what's crazy about that? If you were to close your eyes and drink that, you would think that you were having like a watered down orange juice. It's not really an orange flavor per se. It's more of a lemon. But quite honestly, whatever minerals, vitamins, and all that stuff is in here kind of leaves like a chunky foam on the surface, which in all honesty really reminds you of orange juice. This stuff is actually really good. That's why I doubled it up, because I knew I was going to enjoy it and I was going to want to have more than one of them for breakfast. But you know, we got to hit up some more of this coffee. It just must be done. Not the best coffee ever, but absolutely acceptable. I feel so much better now that I've had at least about 6 or 7 ounces of coffee in my face hole. I'm ready to move on. Now let's check out this fruit muesli with milk. That actually turned out really nice looking. Nice and moist without being overly thick or overly watery. I did a pretty good job guesstimating that water. That is looking pretty good. That is a really healthy looking breakfast muesli. We've got some big old barley flakes. That is nice. That's a big old piece of spelt right there. And we have a lot of oats in here. Lots of barley flakes, which is really nice. We do have fruit pieces in here. Looks like we have probably a majority of these pieces are apples. Then we have a bunch of the berry pieces floating around in here, most of which is probably going to be freeze-dried berry powder, which is just fine. Let's quit jabbering about it and get a big old bite of this muesli. See what Slovenia is putting out on the breakfast plate for their soldiers. Let's get a big old spoonful of that and see what Slovenia is putting out in front of their soldiers for breakfast. Take a look at that. That is a good, healthy, wholesome looking muesli. I'm hoping it tastes as good as it looks. That's actually really good. Not overly sweet, which is nice. And I think it's not overly sweet because there's a lot of berry, like freeze-dried berry powder in here. So it kind of cuts down on the sweetness a little bit. Has that tart freeze-dried berry flavor. All the grains in here are nice and soft with just a little bit of chew to them. So not completely fresh, tasting like like fresh off the stove. It's definitely a dried ration item, but it did rehydrate really well. Nice and easy to eat. Still a little bit of bounce to these grains, which is nice. If I was going to eat breakfast every day, I would certainly take an item like this. This is pretty damn good. It's got a really good berry flavor. Very, very prevalent strawberry flavor. When you get one of those little apples in there, kind of like a little flavor burst, a little apple burst in your face, that's not bad either. I'm starting to wonder if those little apple pieces, before they were added to this muesli, if they were sweetened or something, they are really flavorful. Like when you bite into one of those, you really know it. That's a really good addition to this muesli. The strawberry flavor is amazing. Those apples in there certainly didn't hurt the situation any. That Travel Lunch brand muesli, that's good stuff. I'll tell you what, I really do dig the European style like muesli cereals that they have for breakfast versus just kind of our plain oats here in the United States. It's going to give me some serious gas, especially the barley that's in there, but that's okay. We'll have fun with that part. Were you here for a serious, mature review about ration items and international food? Oh, I'm sorry, you're on the wrong channel, because I'm like a giant child when it comes to this stuff. But sorry guys, this is still really good, and it's going to make me fart. I don't know what else to tell you. I have to tell you, if you're a person that gets up early in the morning and you're hungry, this muesli will knock your hunger right in the dirt. This is definitely by far one of my favorite breakfast items of all times. This muesli is actually really good. Absolutely amazing. And we got to get a bite of this fruit protein bar. That is really interesting. That's like fruit, brown sugar, and molasses all mixed together. And it tastes like there's some coconut in there. So really, if you just take a generic fruit flavor, mix in molasses, sugar, brown sugar, and coconut, mush that all up into a bar, and smash that thing together, that's pretty much what you have right there. And that's actually really amazing. I was just checking this out. I actually made a mistake and called this a fruit protein bar. They just call it a fruit bar with added vitamins and minerals. This is an amazing ration item. Very chewy, not overly sweet, kind of like that brown sugar and molasses kind of flavor to it. This is really crazy. If you get your hands on one of these Slovenian rations and are able to get one of these fruit or fortified fruit bars, this thing is awesome. Like I could eat these all day. Say goodbye. I know this is the one thing you thought you'd never see. Ration Nerd going back in for what? My third helping of like fish paste? But I'm going for it because this stuff is good. I'm not hungry in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to save the rest of those crisp breads for lunch and dinner. So I'm just going to go ahead and load all this fishy goodness up on one crisp bread. That's a whole lot of fish paste. I mean, maybe that's even too much for me, but we're going to give it hell. All right, and we got to hit up one of these vitamin C candies. Ugh. Last time, Last time I had this ration, these were strawberry flavored. This time, they're supposed to be orange flavored. And the interior didn't get any sticky stuff on it, so I don't think these went bad. I just think Slovenia maybe has never eaten an orange before or something, because these are pretty horrible. Let's get a big mouthful of this nasty. Okay, so last time when I got the strawberry flavored vitamin C candies, I was all about them when I had them in the last Slovenian ration. These orange ones are going to be a much different story. It's very nice. These come in blister packs, so they stay fresh and nasty. So we can get rid of the empty blisters. Keep those, because that's going to be some business trying to put them down later. Well, everyone, breakfast was absolutely a hit. That muesli was absolutely amazing. Coffee was just on this side of acceptable, but I got coffee, so I'm actually just really happy about that, to actually have got some coffee. Mineral vitamin drink is really yummy. That fruit bar was amazeballs, and this fish paste pate stuff with tomato is actually really good, so much so that I'm finishing it off for breakfast. All right, welcome back to lunch. we are going to get into that pasta porcini. I have no clue what that is. We are going to figure it out together. We're going to get one of those mineral vitamin drinks going on, another fruit bar, because they're yummy. We're going to try this vanilla-flavored hyper-protic drink, which is what it says, hyper-protic, probably something to do with protein. We're going to give it a shot. We're going to figure it out. We have some leftover crisp breads from breakfast, and we're going to get into this fish with vegetables. I'm really hoping, crossing fingers, that this fish and vegetables is just as amazing as the one that I had for breakfast, although that was more like a pate. This, not really sure what it is. We're going to find out together. And of course, we have some of these not so yummy orange-flavored vitamin C tablets. We're going to get a crunch on those because that's what we do. Before we do anything, we need to get this main hydrating. This being a pasta dish, I have a feeling it's just going to take a while to hydrate. So we got some macaroni noodles, it looks like, going on in there. No do not eat floating around there. Looks like the Travel Lunch brand just don't put the do not eat oxygen absorbers in there. That's kind of, well, just a little funky looking, but that's okay. It's all dried out. We're just going to have to give it a pass. And we're probably going to go a little heavy on the water because pasta has been one of the worst freeze-dried dishes to rehydrate in any freeze-dried main I've ever had, or any freeze-dried food that comes in one of these little pouches that I've ever had. So, unlike the last Travel Lunch item that I had, this actually does say to add 350 mils of boiling water. Stir well, close pouch, let stand for 5 to 10 minutes. I can read. Look at that. So we have roughly about 350 mils of water here. We're just going to dump this whole mess in there. Let's see if we can't melt this spoon, giving that a little swizz. And this bag does have a nice rounded gusset at the bottom, so not too much of the food gets trapped in corners, which is very nice. That spoon gets jankier and jankier every time I stick it in something hot. Well, at least it kind of returns to shape as long as it's still warm. That's not too shabby. Let's give that a shake. A little prayer to the ration gods that we're not about to make a really big damn mess. Oh, that's nice and hot. Yes, sir. We're going to let that sit there and rehydrate and think about becoming a real edible meal again. Let's bust in to these leftover stale crisp breads from breakfast. I'm actually really digging the stale crisp breads. I have absolutely no complaints that they're stale. Well, let's check out that vitamin protein drink. And unfortunately, this is one of those items that has a little bit of barely legible ingredients on it, but absolutely no instructions on how to make it. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that there's only 28 grams of powder in here. We're probably looking at about 100 to 150 mils at the most. We'll start with a little bit. We'll add if necessary. But I have a feeling this is just going to be a small drink. Kind of smells like vanilla cake mix. It has a very fine powder as it just kind of dusts everything on the table. I don't know if you can see that dust on the edge of the tray there. That's super epic. Let's see what roughly 100 mils does to this thing. And let's get something not so funky. The spoon's got a little bit of funk on it. Let's stir this up and see what this turns into. Okay, that's turning out to be really thick with some chunkies in the bottom. We'll add a little bit more water, like maybe about 25 more mils, thin it out just a little bit. I am going to transfer that to another glass just so it is a lot easier to see the consistency and color of this thing. And all told, that turned into about 200 mils of, well, this thick vanilla flavored liquid. Certainly does smell like vanilla cake batter. I'm not upset about that at all. We'll get a taste of that here in a minute. Get that mineral vitamin drink mixed up. This stuff is really good. I know I had the doubler for breakfast. I'm kind of sad this is the last pack. This stuff is so good. I just want to get a little sip of this guy right off the bat. That'll help clean up the face hole. That is really yummy. Really like that. Very light orange flavor. I wanted a larger drink, so I mixed it up a little bit on the weak side, but that's okay. It still actually tastes really good. Let's check out this fruit bar. That's yummy. It may not look like much, but that thing is really yummy. Let's get our vitamin C in for the day. We're gonna really rock it out with these vitamin C tablets. I tell you what, if anybody wants some of these nasty vitamin C tablets, shoot me an email. Give me a name and address to mail them to. I'll drop a couple of them in an envelope and mail them off to you. It'll be fun, because then we can talk about it in the comments. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. This goddamn fish and vegetables. Let's just power through. Oh, here we go. Oh, it just slathered me with... God damn it. All right. That was not even cool. I just got splashed with, like, orange fish oil. It's on my face. That's just wrong. Absolutely wrong. So that is an oily mess in there. Luckily, they gave you 4 of these hand sanitizing wipes, and these things are super moist, relatively durable for as small and thin as they are. Like, these things are actually pretty beast for as tiny as they are, but certainly good for getting up all this nasty fish juice that just splashed all over the ration table and on my arms and my it's on my face. It's on my face. That was just not cool. So let's get this oily. There's actually vegetables in there. That might save the. Might save the day. All right. That is looking great. All right, so we definitely have some veggies going on in here with this tuna, so that's a good thing. That could definitely help. There are some, relatively big chunks of fish in here, so hopefully this is a good quality tuna. If it's a good quality tuna, this might actually turn out to be really good, like the fish that I had with breakfast. But, I don't know. Let's just go in for it. We got time. We have to wait for this travel lunch to finish rehydrating. Let's get a crisp bread. Let's just go right in for some fish and vegetables. I have no clue what veggies are in there. It does look like there's a green pepper. It looks like these are probably pieces of squash or something like that. Not 100% sure. So we will just get some of that on a big old crisp bread. I'm just full of excitement right here. Take a look at that. That's getting ready to go in the face hole. I'm not real excited about it, but we're going to do it anyway. Oh. That is so fishy. It's crazy because when you first get a bite of this stuff, now I can't say this is the worst fish item I've ever had in a ration, because it's totally not. This is, however, extremely fishy. And it's weird because when you first get it in your mouth, you start to get some of the vegetable taste, and whatever oil this is packed in is certainly helping keep like the nasty fish flavor at bay for a while. Then the more you chew it, the more fishy flavor that you get. So for me, this would be one of those items, if I really needed the protein and the calories, I would just have to eat this stuff as fast as I possibly could and chew it the minimal amount just to get it through the face hole past the taste buds. I don't know how much of that I'm going to be able to eat because the aftertaste is the killer. The front end is fine. Like it's like a wet, oily vegetable with just a tiny hint of fish, and then the real fishy flavor creeps in and just like really gets you, like, and it just sticks around in the back of your mouth. And I learned my lesson before. I'm not going to have a drink of that after eating some of this because citrus just accentuates the fish, which I certainly don't want to do. So I'm going to go for round 2 with me and the fish. Ready, fight. You know, if I eat it really fast, and I mean fast, like barely chew it, just get it mushed up a little bit, get the crisp bread crunched up, and get it down. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. It's kind of a race to see how fast I can eat it. How much of the fish flavor do I not have to suffer with? Let's just try this one more time. You ready? Go. I mean, as you can imagine, the more vegetables that I have on the cracker, the less of the fish that I taste. If this was any other meat, I think I'd be all about it. If this was chicken or beef or chicken or beef, anything other than fish. So this stuff is just super fishy. I'm not sure if this is actually tuna or not, but this is my last bite. That fish flavor is starting to like kind of linger and hang around in the back of my mouth. And that's just not for me. Everybody's mileage may vary when it comes to seafood, but for me, seafood is just not one of my favorite items, especially really fishy fish, which that's exactly what this is, a super fish. It's a shame that this ration had to have 2 fish items in it. This would have been so much better if it was a pate. The fish pate from this morning, I tell you what, I definitely would have taken 2 of those. That stuff was actually pretty awesome. And voila, through the magic of editing, we now have a allegedly completely hydrated pasta porcini. Let's see what pasta porcini looks like. All right, well, hey, you know what? To be fair, I haven't taken a bite of it yet, but pasta porcini is looking pretty good. It has a really salty smell, and that's a really weird thing to say, but so it looks like we have some Is that mushrooms or beef? I'm not 100% sure. So this looks to be a mushroom pasta, and it has a really savory smell to it. Actually, it looks really nice. Looks as though the noodles have rehydrated pretty well. So it doesn't look like there's any meat in this at all. It's just pasta and a whole lot of mushroom pieces and a milky sauce. Having checked the ingredients, this thing is chock full of salt, whole milk powder, butter powder, palm fat, cream powder, toasted onions, maltodextrin, yeast extract, lactose milk protein, tomato powder. I tell you what, this thing's got a lot of ingredients. That's okay. We're going to get in here. We're going to get a flavor profile on this thing. I have a feeling it's going to be super salty, but we're going to find out. This thing is packed with salt and sugar, so it is definitely going to, well, fuel you for the day. Get you to retain some water, which could always be good. I guess depending on what environment you're in. Let's get a close-up of that pasta porcini before we stuff it in ye old face hole. Yep, and that is very salty, but it's actually pretty good. I think the salt is mellowed out by the sugar and maltodextrin that are in here. It's actually pretty decent. Those little bits of mushrooms have a little bit of a chewy texture. This pasta actually rehydrated really well. I'm surprised at that. And that nice creamy base, that milk and butter and cream powder in there, that's actually really tasty. The way this stuff smelled, I was expecting it just to be a really salty mess. I was actually bummed that there was no meat in here, but I tell you what, between all these little mushroom chunks and the noodles are actually kind of al dente. They're just on the right side of done. Have a little bit of chew to them. They're not mushy, which is really unusual for a freeze-dried main. Normally the noodles are either way too hard or way too mushy. This one, these turned out just perfect. This is excellent. It's crazy. It's a really delicate balancing act. And the flavors of this, the salt and the sugar and the cream are all battling each other for dominance in this flavor profile. It's pretty crazy. There really could have been some meat in here. I'd have been even happier with it. This is actually a pretty solid main. It's definitely going to fill me up. That's quite a bit of pasta. I guess I could throw some of that fish in there, but we're not doing it. We're just not doing it. I wasn't expecting a whole lot from this, especially when I found out or figured out there was no meat in here, because I didn't really know what pasta porcini was. Apparently pasta porcini is just, a creamy sauce with mushrooms and noodles, but I am pleasantly surprised. This is almost like a mushroom mac and cheese with gravy. If I liked fish and I was into that fishy flavor, this would certainly be a really heavy, really filling lunch. A protein drink, a regular drink, some leftover crisp bread, a whole bunch of fish, and a big pasta dish, fruit bar. This would have been super filling. Even as it is, minus the fish, I'm going to be full. You would figure with this dish not having meat in it, they wouldn't need to have such a high salt content, but it certainly does have a really crazy salt content. That's more than apparent. If it wasn't for the maltodextrin having that battle with the salt, this would be inedible. It would be so salty. But somehow that sugar and milk powder that's in here is winning the battle and is making this completely edible and extremely yummy. What's great is I absolutely meant to take a crisp bread and dunk a whole bunch of that pasta on a piece of this crisp bread, but I was too busy eating it to even remember to try to dunk the crisp bread in a bunch of pasta. A dish is good when you completely forget to do something that basic. I would imagine that this would have been great with a big old hunk of that main on it, but we forgot about it. And why did we forget about it? Because that main was good. That's why. I'm going to break into that super yummy fruit bar. And those fruit bars are absolutely excellent. They're stabilized really well. This ration is definitely out of date, and that fruit bar is absolutely amazing. So let's clean the palate before we get into this vanilla cake mix over there. That mineral vitamin drink is just so good. All right, let's check out this vanilla protein shake. This vanilla protein shake is looking a little weird and a little spooky, but that's okay. We're going to suck some of this down and see what it tastes like. Oh. That may have spoiled a bit. Not completely, but a bit. So that has a very strong taste of artificial sweetener. It also tastes like a vanilla cake batter, but the artificial sugar destroys that yummy cake batter flavor it otherwise would have had. Then there's also like a pasty and chalky aftertaste to it, and then there's just a hint of sour dairy. So I'm not 100% sure if that's supposed to taste like sour dairy or if that has just gone bad at this point. It is certainly possible the ration is out of date, so it's totally not the ration's fault. I'm not going to go for any more of that. One, because I don't like it. Two, because there's a possibility of it being spoiled. I would have liked to have gotten one of these before its expiration date to see if it's just as nasty then as it is now. I have a feeling even when this thing was inside of its expiration date, it wouldn't be all that great. And now we're going to wrap things up. Well, at least we're going to wrap this portion of the video up with a couple of these nasty orange flavored vitamin C tablets. Oh. These things are medicinal. They do not taste good. If you could turn orange into a medicine flavor that made orange taste nasty, that's it right there. Well, guys, that was lunch. I will see you guys back here in 3 or 4 hours, and we'll wrap this shit up with some dinner. All right, welcome back to dinner, everybody. I took the liberty of chucking that main in the flameless ration heater so that thing is getting nice and hot. So we have this heavily sticky chocolate mousse here. We got to get this rehydrating. That is definitely one of the first orders of business. Oh, powdery mess. This mousse does have a lot of milk powder in it, so we'll have to give it a little sniff check. And that smells okay. It does smell a little bit weird, but you know what? I'm not really 100% sure exactly what chocolate mousse is supposed to look like. So this takes just under 200 mils of water. We'll measure that out with our super scientific measuring device. That looks about right, at least for the moment. We'll get this all stirred and shaken up and get this set off to the side so it can start becoming moussey. Yeah, moussey. I don't know how you'd spell that. Would that be M-O-O-S-E-Y moussey, or would that be like M-O-U? Nah, whatever. And we shake it like it owes us money. And it says to let that mousse stand for a short while. Hey, mousse, stand over there for a little while. I'll get back to you in a minute. So we have some of these sticky corn crisp breads. We're going to get these out onto the tray. And we have that chocolate bar. It is a very chocolatey dinner. So we have a nice chocolate bar to go with our chocolate mousse. And that is a very good looking chocolate bar. I've had one of these before. I am definitely excited to put that in the face hole. It's got a nice little leaf impression on the top of it. That's absolutely cool. And we have that tea mix. We're going to get that rocking. It really is a bummer when something like that jam just explodes inside of your ration or gets opened inside of your ration and then everything is just covered in sticky nastiness. You know, it's bad for me, and I'm sitting at a table with like full access to a bathroom, water, soap, all that stuff to get the stick off. If you were out in the field, it would suck for all of your stuff just to be covered in this sticky, nasty jam. Don't hate, hydrate. And we'll get ourselves some of these nasty orange-flavored vitamin C candies. Not exactly excited for these. We've had a lot of vitamin C today. Maybe I'll only torture myself with just 2 of these guys. And let's check out that main. It ought to be nice and hot by now. This was a Jamipsa ration heater, and it did really well. Nice, thick, big, juicy heating pad in there. And let's check out that 350 grams of beans and vegetable medley. I'm hoping this is good. I've had a good bit to eat throughout the day, but you know what? I worked up a little bit of an appetite. I could definitely go for a nice hot main right now. So let's check this. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, wow. That's nice and hot. That's always a good thing. There are a whole lot of beans. Looks like we have some peas. That's actually looking very interesting. Like some black-eyed peas in there as well. Oh, and there's a good bit of food in that bag, but I tell you what, that ration heater, really did a great job. That, by the time I squeeze the contents out to the end, I tell you what, that is nice and hot, burning off the fingerprints. Nobody needs fingerprints. So that is looking very interesting. I don't see any meat in there, and it did not say there was any, but we definitely have some great northern beans going on in there. We have some black-eyed peas. Looks like we have some pintos, some kind of kidney bean. Very interesting. Some small white beans I can't quite identify. There are also carrots, corn. We have a little piece of bell pepper hanging out in there. That's excellent. Looks like there's just a little bit of green peppers and maybe even some green beans floating around in here. This is just a literal medley of like just a whole bunch of vegetables and beans chucked in a sauce. I am really hoping very much that this is yummy. I'm going to go ahead and get a big old bite. Let's try to get a little bit of everybody rocking in there. Give me one of these red beans. Give me some. Just give me some of everybody. This ought to be a whole lot of fun later on after it processes through my intestines. I think my back door is going to be pretty vocal about this main. And that is really plain. That's a total bummer. That's 350 grams of plain. Let me get in here, get a couple more bites, see what we're working with. This is really just tastes like bland beans. That's kind of a kick in the ass. That's a really big main. It's the only retort pouch main in here, and it kind of sucks. Not that everything Jim Ipsa makes is bad. It just seems like some of their more budget-friendly ration items that they sell to other countries just aren't great, and this seems like it's going to be one of those. I mean, you can definitely taste the beans, you can taste the corn, you can even pick up on a little hint of carrot when you get one, or you can taste the green beans, and each one of these beans, you can't taste the peas, which is odd. Normally you'd figure you'd taste the peas. The sauce doesn't have a lot of flavor to it at all. This absolutely would have benefited from some kind of animal fat. I mean, this will definitely fill you up and give you a lot of energy, a lot of protein from the beans and all that good stuff, but it's not very appetizing, and it's certainly not very pleasing. And it's a real shame because this main is just screaming for seasoning. Put some seasoning in the damn ration. That way the guys can actually enjoy all this protein instead of just kind of, well, sucking it down. We really haven't given it a day in court until we try to stack it on top of one of these really stale crisp breads. Trust me when I tell you, this looks a whole lot better on camera than it tastes in person. I promise. And the crisp bread really just helps with texture. So that's definitely the way I would eat this. If I had to eat this, if I really needed the calories, I would definitely stack it on top of the crisp bread. You certainly have enough of it left. You know, I can kind of imagine this would be something they'd serve in a prison. Like, here's your mess o' beans with no seasoning. Maybe if you got lucky, you'd get something like crisp bread to go with it. This is like the prisoner's meal. You know, lots of people get butthurt about me being so hard on rations, but I'm hard on them for a reason. Not for really my sake, because look, I enjoy this hobby, but for me, it's just a hobby. There are fighting men and women in the militaries of countries that get stuck eating something like this. It's really bland, kind of saps your morale, super depressing, means nothing to me. I can just go make or buy myself something to eat. But if I was in combat and you're going to serve me this shit, I'm going to be a little salty. Like every once in a while, if you had a single main that kind of sucked, okay. That's 2 Slovenian rations I've reviewed now, where they both had one of the mains that was completely bland, really worthless, and you don't have any way to rescue it. There's no salt, there's no pepper, there's no seasoning, there's no hot sauce, so you're stuck with 350 grams of really bland-ass beans, and that's all you can do. If you're hungry, you just kind of have to suffer through it. I think soldiers deserve better. That's my opinion. You can love it or hate it. Unfortunately, that was a depressing main. Let's get some of this tea to wash down all that bland nastiness. And that tea is excellent. Reminds you of a Lipton instant iced tea with lemon here in the United States. Nice and sweet, but not overly sweet. Nice taste of artificial lemon and a really nice tea flavor. So let's make some room for this big old chocolate mousse affair. We got to get stickified to get the mousse out of here again, but I'll sacrifice for you guys. I'll get this sticky nastiness all over me just so I can see what we're bringing to the table in the chocolate mousse department. Don't know if you guys could see in there, but it's pretty chocolatey in there. It actually looks really good. This would be way easier just to eat straight out of the pouch, but for the purposes of the video, we're going to drag it all out of there. My fear is that we're going to lose a bunch of it. So just know that what you see on the tray here, there is probably going to be a couple of spoonfuls or more left inside of the bag that if you were eating this ration, you could definitely fish it out of there. There's a good bit in here, I have to admit. And it would be a whole lot of fun digging around in there and trying to get every last little bit of this mousse out of there. And there's probably at least 1/3 of this again still inside of the bag. It's just a super mess trying to get it out of there. But this has turned out to be really nice and thick. It doesn't look like it mixed up all that well. It does look a little grainy, but that's okay. Field expedient chocolate mousse? Yes, please. Let's take a look at that. A big old mess of chocolatey goodness. We're going to pound that right in the old face hole and give it a taste. That is actually really good. Really deep, dark chocolate flavor. If you did not just sit here and watch me mix that up in a bag and then stick it out on this tray, if I mix this up just a little bit better, you would think this came from the store. This actually has a really nice dark chocolate flavor, a little bit of a coffee undertone, which is great. It's not overly sweet, which is really refreshing for a dessert like this. This is a really quality item that is very yummy, very rich and silky, smooth, dark chocolate with a coffee undertone. This is good stuff. Oh, it's excellent. It has little bits of chocolate floating around in there. Some of the graininess that you see is actually chocolate flakes that, well, they're not mixing up because they're chocolate flakes, and they're really actually amazing when you get one and you smush it around with your tongue and it melts. Oh, so good. This is actually a really high quality item. The flakes of chocolate running through this, actually just a really nice touch. That's actually like kind of gourmet, guys. I guess I would be failing in my ration reviewer duties if I did not at least try to take one of these stale ass crisp breads and see how it pairs with this chocolate mousse. The mousse on a stale crisp bread. That's actually really good. Like that light, crispy, styrofoam texture of the corn crisp bread, along with the deep, dark chocolate taste of this mousse. That's actually a really excellent match. I really wish I could just give you guys a bite. Doink. Now, we have to get some chocolate overload by getting a bite of this awesome chocolate bar. Let's get a bite of that. And this chocolate overload is exactly how you'd want to do it. This chocolate bar, nice and silky smooth, has a crisp bite, but once you get that chocolate warmed up just a little bit, only semi-sweet, very high quality. That is an excellent chocolate bar. Honestly, have to say that I think the mousse and this awesome chocolate bar make up for that lackluster, shabby-ass main. That dessert and this chocolate bar are absolutely on point. But you know how it goes at this point. I am absolutely going to destroy that chocolate mousse. I'm going to stuff my face in that bag and see exactly how much of that mousse I can extract. Like a bulldog trying to drink out of a water bowl. I'm without any doubt going to finish that chocolate bar because it's absolutely amazing when we're going to crush that tea. So thank you guys for joining me here on Ration Nerd for the Slovenian 24-hour combat ration Type C. This ration definitely had its ups and downs, chock full of some fish items. I'm not a big fish fan, so I'm totally not holding that against the ration. That last bean and vegetable medley dish was absolutely prison food. Otherwise, most of the items in this ration were really good. The dessert items were off the hook. Breakfast muesli, excellent. Had coffee. Gotta give it like 5 points just for having the trifecta of coffee, cream, and sugar. This was definitely a lot of fun to get into, and even more fun because you guys came along for the ride. But if you guys appreciate what I am doing here on this channel, you know how that shit goes. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, talk to me in the chat. It is always good to hear from you guys, and until next time, if you can find anything as cool as this Slovenian 24-hour combat ration to put in your face hole, you absolutely know what to do. Eat 'em up.